Thank you so much for having me here. And thank you for the kind words of the introduction. Introductions are hard. You have to strike the right tone between being boastful and sort of toning it down enough just so that people know that you make an impact. Um, but introductions are pretty much like everything. It's about balance, and that is what, while we talk about tech and the work that I do, I would actually like to on the concept of balance throughout it. Can everybody hear me at the back? Yeah? Okay, good. Oh, yeah. This is up there. So, quick introduction. I've been a journalist for over 10, 11 years. You lose track of time after a point of time. And I've worked with, yeah. Okay, so this is it. Yeah. Okay, thank you. Yeah. So this is one more new thing I'm using right now. After 12 years, I opened a PowerPoint last night. You're always sort of doing new things. Yeah, so coming back to the introduction, I did journalism. I worked with a bunch of, premier news organizations in India and internationally. I've worked with Indian Express, Business Standard, the India Today Group, and Tech in Asia, which was my last role in journalism. Tech in Asia is based out of Singapore, and that's a very specifically tech startup news production house. So I think that was in my last role in journalism is where I used most of the digital tools that I will be talking about. After that, I started working with an investment firm. I handled all of their content and marketing and strategy. Some of you might have heard of it. It's called Peak 15, formerly known as Sequoia. They're one of the oldest and the largest investment agencies in India. Okay, supposed to be pointing it there. Okay, I'm pretty sure by now you guys already know all of this. What AI can give you, and it can't give you. But I would like to specifically, the third point of what AI can give you is one of my favorite points. Um, ask any chat platform to talk about your hometown. Okay. And I'm guessing a lot of you are away from home these days. So when you want to read about your hometown, you want to hear and read about the hometown that you remember. But the chatbot is not going to give you that. It's going to give you stats. It's going to give you the population. It's going to give you the demography. That is not the town that you know. And that output will be so bad, it will inspire you to write something from scratch. So I see a lot of people actually writing because of the third point, because you're angry at the output, because you are unsettled with what what it tells you about the thing that you do know. We're going to talk about this a little more, if I remember. Yeah. So I'm just going to use a very basic example before we get into the tools. So you have all of these things lying in your fridge, and you're going to ask ChatGPT to tell you to make something. What can I make with all these ingredients? You're going to get a ricotta, a pasta, ravioli pasta ricotta out of all of this. But if you've never made that before, if you're not from Italy and you're not familiar with Italian food, it's going to come as a big surprise to you. I can make all of this with these basic ingredients. But if you've been familiar with the subject for a while, if you've made at least an omelette in your life, you will know that ChatGPT's recommendation is not out of the world. And that is something, it is so basic, but people consistently forget that. And they expect, AI to have the answers. AI will not have the answers, ever. You have to guide it throughout. That is something I would like to constantly sort of underplay throughout. Okay. Wait, why are we going back? Okay, so I'm sure that all of us are familiar with YouTube. Am I right? Yeah, okay. So the thing is, tools will exist for a lifetime. How long have you been using Adobe or hearing of Adobe? Tools will last for a lifetime. It's up to you on how to optimize it. Okay, like for example, this YouTube thing, you have something called chatterization, which is on the left. And what's going to happen is, I'm just going to give you an example of chatterization. This presentation has a picture of two cats. It is very possible that none of you will like this presentation, but you may want to see the picture of the two cats. So if you have chapterization available and it's on YouTube, you're just going to go to those particular chapters which say, here's the picture of the cat. That is how chapterization helps. And you won't believe how much it helps to actually put content out into the world, because it makes it so easy for the viewer, the reader, to sort of go through content. And frankly, it is no longer just about creating good content. It is about helping the reader understand things, you know? You also have subtitling. Um, YouTube does subtitling for you. It is not accurate, and it will get accents wrong. It will get a lot of concepts wrong, but it is a starting point. So if you're ever, working on content and uploading it, and if you can't give it a proper transcript to work with, just enable these features. That's a very basic thing you do when you start putting out content in the world. Okay, this is I think my second favorite slide. Uh, because it has these productivity tools. Okay, I don't know how many of you are familiar with instruments now, but if you aren't, use it and it will start changing your life. The more you use it, the better you will get at it. Even if you guys are not creating newsletters already, you might be subscribed to some, or you will start creating newsletters for different subjects. And again, like Adobe, platforms that help you create newsletters and send it out to the world haven't changed. They're essentially WordPress, HubSpot, and Mailchimp. Now, this might not be a tool that you guys have heard of before. It's called Famo. It's an Indian tool developed by a bunch of MTV former journalists. And what it helps you do is, suppose you have an hours recording, hours content. And but a lot of the times you will not be able to put out an hours content on platforms like Twitter or X, as you know it now. So what you're going to do is you're going to make short clips of it. And you really don't need technical expertise anymore to be able to make those shortcuts and clips. And if you train these apps enough, they can also flag sensitive material for you. For example, you don't need to use certain words or certain numbers. Certain, because I work with an investment firm, that means numbers are very, very sensitive data. And we don't want to put that data out because it may not be checked yet, it may not be confirmed yet. So what we do is we use the tool, we tell it, if you see numbers, you flag it to us, and then we cross-check it if it is okay for consumption for the public. So a lot of these tools, as you use them, you can customize and personalize them to flag the stuff that you would otherwise need to see. Yeah, so what happens after you've sent stuff out to the world? That's only half the job done. After you've created and sent it out, that is only half the job done. That is when you have to sit down with all the dashboards. Every tool now gives you a dashboard. It'll give you numbers, it'll give you open rates, it'll give you click rates for newsletters. If it is a video, it'll talk about minutes watched, seconds watched, all of this. So then you start studying these numbers, and you can use AI to help you decode these numbers so that you can make your content better. Are people clicking on the links that you're sending to them through newsletters? You can find that out. If they're not clicking, then you have to revise your strategy and look at another way, another method. Obviously, something is going wrong if people are not reading the stuff. But if you're not watching these numbers, you're never going to be knowing if people are reading or not reading. So it's very necessary to maintain a touch with basically different dashboards. Oh, okay, this is my favorite slide. I'm going to talk a little bit in detail about this one. I hope you guys noticed the cat on the first slide. That would have been in the chapterization. Um, yeah, so I'm going to give you an example. The first point, translations. How long has Google Translate been around for? It's been around forever. I mean, I can't remember a time where I couldn't access a translation app. And something as basic as what Google gives you, not even a specialized, customized app. Now, we had a story that when I was a tech in Asia, we had a story that we had to do. And this was a cross border story. And we had to write about a startup that was flouting the regulations in Indonesia. But here's the thing, none of the people on the other side of the border spoke English. And I don't speak Bahasa Indonesian. So, how do you talk? So, right from formal letters to casual WhatsApp messages saying, can you talk? Are you free for a few minutes? Everything was done through Google Translate. And the story came out and it changed regulation in the Indonesian industry. All because of this app, something that has been around forever. So it is the very basics that will continue to lead you a long, long, long way. Yeah. Oh, okay. I'll go through the slides quickly and then you can ask me questions. That's how I can finish my presentation. Okay, that's how what's we're going to do. Firefly's board, excellent for note taking, specifically if you can't be in two places at a time. Okay. Scrivener, screenplays, scripts, anything writing related, go for Scrivener. Hemingway editor helps you see music in language. You know, I'm tone deaf, but I can see music in language. If you can't see music in language, use Hemingway editor. Flourish for charts, maps. There's a whole world. Line graphs and pie graphs are basic.
Check.
Use Flourish, just open it up, see it, and you'll find like a whole new world opens up. Okay, all of this is great for creating visuals if you're putting out social media content. But remember, the internet will only give you what it is only populated with. If you ask it to make an analog watch, saying give me an analog visual of an analog watch with 12:30 as the time, it can't give you. It will only give you 10:10. Try it. I mean, after this, try it. Ask it to give you an analog visual of a watch, and it'll give you any other time. It'll only give you 10:10, no matter what you ask for. Because whenever we have been uploading images, we have only been uploading 10:10. That is why. Yep, that's the second cat.